Hello, I'm Don Courtney, Certified Ombudsman for Long-Term Care for the state of Florida. We are in District 8, which is Hillsborough and Manatee counties. The Hillsborough and Manatee County area has the second largest number of beds in long-term care facilities in the state of Florida, which is approximately 13,500 beds. There are 343 facilities in the Hillsborough-Manatee County area and 16 ombudsmen. The program is in need of bilingual volunteers, especially in the Tampa Bay area. Due to the large number of Spanish-speaking facilities, when someone becomes an ombudsman, they are part of a council made up of other ombudsmen in the area. They vote on decisions brought before the council. They have a forum of peers to speak about difficult complaints they are working on and facilities that are having issues. We have recently started recruiting students from the University of South Florida to begin volunteering with us, and we are hoping that this program helps to educate the community about our services. Being an ombudsman does require a level of commitment, but it's very rewarding. The program has started a visitation program with the goals of visiting residents at each facility quarterly. Our goal this year is to complete quarterly visits at 25% of the facilities in this area. With us today are 3 of our ombudsmen. The government has decided that we need 42 ombudsmen for our area. We're a little short on this goal, and we'd like to introduce our ombudsmen that are here today. Brian, would you like to give a quick introduction there?
Sure, Don, thank you. My name is Brian Herring, and I am not only the ombudsman for the West region of Florida, but I'm also the recruiter. And I'm glad to be here, and hopefully we can get some people to come out and give us a hand.
Right. Elaine?
Hi, I'm Elaine Fetch. I am here today as the district manager. I'm also an ombudsman in this area, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Shirley?
I'm Shirley Parks, and I'm a new ombudsman. I've only been an ombudsman about a year, and it's a very, very rewarding thing, and I thank you so much for allowing me to come.
Thank you. Brian, could you tell us in just a few words what the long-term care ombudsman program is?
Sure. The long-term care ombudsman program is a group of volunteers that are advocates for all the residents that live in assisted living facilities, adult family care homes, and nursing homes. What we do is we visit all the facilities that are licensed under the state of Florida, and to ensure that all the residents that do live in these facilities are being respected, their welfare is being looked out for, and they are being treated with dignity.
Okay, thank you. Elaine, can you tell me where the program is based?
Sure. It's actually a statewide program, and it's a national program that all states have an ombudsman program. In the state of Florida, we are based out of Tallahassee because of that's our headquarters office. We receive a lot of our support and technical assistance from our headquarters. But there are 17 local councils throughout the state of Florida. The local council for this area is actually located in Tampa, but it operates the Hillsborough and Manatee County areas and helps to oversee all of the facilities in that area.
Okay, great. But you say we have in all the other states also?
Yes, in some other states it operates a little differently. Here in Florida, we are a volunteer-based program, which obviously has its pullbacks, but it also has great strengths in that we have passionate volunteers who go out and serve the residents. In other states, sometimes there are paid employees who do a lot of what our volunteers in Florida do.
Great, okay, thank you. Shirley, what do you do on a day-to-day basis when you're out being an ombudsman?
Well, on a day-to-day basis, Don, we go out to the assisted living, adult family care, or limited mental health facilities and nursing homes, and we interview the residents, we talk to the staff, we observe. We're basically observers. If a resident informs us that they have a concern of any kind, then we may act on that. We provide those, that's the assessment process, and then after that, we also take those concerns that any resident may have, or a family member, or even one of us may have, and open a complaint, and then we try to investigate that. We also go to monthly training classes to keep us current on the program, the long-term care program, and we provide facilities with residents' rights training, which is at their request, when they request it.
Okay. What are some of the issues you've run across in visiting the facilities, even though you haven't been doing it for a very long time?
Well, two two of the main problems that we have run across in the last few years, the complaints have been for menu items, people not liking the food or the variety or something like that. And the other is the administration of medication. A third item that's pretty high on the list is evictions and discharges, you know, concerns over those and why they're happening and how they can be stopped and things like that.
Okay, good. Elaine, if somebody has a relative or they live in another state but their relative is here in Florida in a home, how can they handle the complaints, or how can they get a hold of the program to put a complaint in if they don't feel that their loved one is being treated right?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And we do receive many complaints from people who live in other areas, mainly because I think the family members aren't there with them and are concerned. And if ever somebody either within the state or outside of the state wants to file a complaint, they can either do that through our website. There's a place on our website where they can lodge a complaint, and it goes to our program-wide email address. Our website is ombudsman.myflorida.com. They can also do that by calling our toll-free number if they're within the state of Florida, and that's 888-831-0404. Or if they're out of the state, they can call our direct line.
Okay. And Brian, would it work vice versa if I'm living in Florida and I'm concerned about my father in Indiana?
Definitely.
I can make a complaint
Definitely.
through our system, or do I have to try to find the one in Indiana?
If you can still call us and we can point you in the right direction, that would probably be the best bet. Keep you from running around. That's the last thing that we want you to do when you expect or suspect something going on.
Yeah.
To give you the runaround. So one call will help you.
Okay, great. Elaine, what are some of the qualifications that you're looking for when we get a volunteer? I know in the past when I was chairman, we'd come to the office and we'd interview applicants, but what are some of the qualifications a person, we would like them to have? Not necessarily, you know, have, but what we'd like them to have.
Definitely. I think most of the qualifications really come back down to the heart of the volunteer. Having compassion, a heart to care for their fellow man, to see improvement in the quality of long-term care. You know, as far as qualifications, it runs the gamut. Even on our council, as we're aware, we have people who have professions of, you know, former facility publications managers or publicity managers, nurses, former military, you name it, we've got it all on the council. And it really comes back down to wanting to make a difference in the community and have a heart to really serve. And it is, as we all know, it's a lot of work. It pulls at your heartstrings. So somebody who is diligent and is strong to stand up and try to help with another person's problems.
Okay. Shirley, I know you're retired Navy. You think that helps a lot in working this?
It does. It gives, for one thing, it gives me something to do. Not that I don't have anything to do, but it provides me with an opportunity to be able to get out that, I don't know what you call it, the thing inside of you that you want to help other people. You know, and one of the things that's very strong in a lot of people is a desire to do good works. And this allows you to really do good works for people that in some cases have no voice. I mean, some of these people that you go visit they're just sitting there and they have no way of communicating with people sometimes.
Right, might have Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that.
Their family members are the ones that are very concerned, or it may even be a friend. It may be a local friend. It may be a nurse in the facility. There's just all kinds of things going on, and sometimes it's issues with finance, and you know, it runs the gamut of issues that we investigate.
Yeah, and being prior military kind of gives you an analytical approach to problem solving.
Sometimes. Sometimes we try to be analytical and we don't do it very well, but the majority of the issues are, you know, you follow your heart and you try to do the best you can with providing as much information as you can.
Okay. Brian, what do you look for when you go statewide for your recruiting, or just
right now I handle all the way from Panama City down to Fort Myers.
Okay.
In the last 2 weeks I've been Hernando, Polk, Pasco, Manatee, Hillsborough, and it's been a lot of traveling, but I've met some pretty interesting people. Hopefully all the trees that I've been shaking hopefully some of the
Yeah.
volunteers will fall out.
If I remember, you were over here at the Manatee Fair recently?
I was Friday. I was at it's called the Lifestyles 50 Plus Fair, and there was about, I'm guessing, probably 1,000 people that came through the doors there, and I probably talked to 40 people that day.
And what was one of the problems you realized in our name?
The actual, the ombudsman, in our verbiage, we have what's called long-term care. Those are just the select words that we have in there. And I had noticed in the last couple fairs that I've done, people see those words and they think that we're selling long-term care insurance. And I had actually was reading their lips as people would walk by, and I could see them read or mouth long-term care, and I would ask them, and they say, I'm not buying insurance.
Right.
And I would interrupt them and say, no, we are not selling anything. What we are selling.
I've noticed that too, and I go into a facility and I introduce myself and ask to come into the room to talk to a resident. They say, I'm not buying anything. I don't have any money. I can't buy anything. You know? Then you have to explain to them that you work for the state, you're a volunteer, and you're not selling anything. It's like, I know what your problem is,
And it's amazing at the fairs that I've been to, so many people out there, and I'm guessing at the number, but 9 out of 10 people have never heard of the word ombudsman. They don't know anything about us, and I tell them that we've been around since the Nixon administration, and they're like, where have you been? And the sad thing is we've been here just working behind the scenes. Nobody knows about us until they need us. And we should be here on everybody's mind.
And I think one of the things about Ombudsman and our role is to educate the residents living in the facilities that they do have a voice, they have somebody they can call, but also educating the community about the services.
I agree. I tell everybody, I may go out I may be the recruiter, but I am just not out there to if I go to the public and I talk to you, I'm not here just to recruit, but I'm also to educate. And education is primary, recruiting volunteers is secondary.
Elaine, could you take us through the steps when you get a call in the office, what happens?
A call, like a complaint?
A complaint, yes.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we try to do to help residents to advocate for themselves and empower residents is we ask them a series of questions to make sure that they have tried to resolve the problem if they feel comfortable with it. We ask them if they've talked to the administrator or staff about their concerns. We've asked if they have a family member or loved one that they've spoken to about their concerns. And we try to mediate that way. And if it is something that maybe they've talked to the administration or staff about, or maybe they don't feel comfortable for fear of retaliation or other concerns, we will then take the complainant information, whether that's the family member or the resident themselves. We get some demographic information about the resident, just so we can help to identify who that person is when we go to the facility. We then go through a series of questions to help really identify what the problems are. We try to narrow down what the actual concerns are, because sometimes residents will call us who have been sitting there thinking about and dwelling on a lot of their concerns, and one of the things we want to do is help to provide them a peace of mind. So if we can really get down to what the concerns are that our ombudsman can go out and help them with, it really helps us a lot. So we'll get those. Once we have completed the complaint, we enter it into a web-based system that generates complaint data and statistics, and then we assign it to an ombudsman. And our ombudsman in this area take on many complaints. I'm sure, as you guys are aware, we have 16 ombudsmen in the area covering the 343 facilities.
Right.
So we then assign it to an ombudsman who goes out and investigates within 7 days.
Okay. Shirley, could you tell us from your point what you do when you get a typical
A complaint?
complaint? Yeah, not to mention any facility names or resident names or anything, but if you get a complaint that, let's say that individual thinks that the food is lousy, they're not keeping the room clean or anything like that,
Well,
How do you go about it?
the first thing you do is you contact the resident to try and get permission to investigate. And sometimes that's where your snag starts, because the resident is worried that the facility won't like them, or they will have problems in the facility if they complain. So if they give you permission to investigate, but you don't get the permission to release their name, and so you try to investigate based on general principles.
Right.
If it's the menu, then you go around and talk to other residents to see if they have the same issues. If it's a cleaning problem, then you talk to other residents to see if they have a cleaning
check the
problem.
rooms and
Right, you check the rooms, you observe, you see, you visit, and when you go to the facility, you don't tell them you're going there for a complaint. You just tell them you're going to make an inspection and just to look. And so then you have a little bit of your ammunition, and if you can find that this is verified, then you would continue on with your investigation and report. Sometimes, though, I would say this, that you get into the point where, like the complaint that I had recently, you get into a situation where a family member gives the complaint, and it's a totally different thing than what's going on. It's just way different than what's going on. So you have to try and dig through the layers and try to find the real thing. Sometimes on the phone it's difficult for them to get the bottom line.
Right.
And so you have to do that on your, when you go there. And sometimes it takes multiple visits, and sometimes the facility is involved with it as well. They're making complaints as well to other agencies. So you're just kind of piggybacking on that.
And if you can't handle it, then
You
goes
pass it
back
on.
to
That's
Elaine
correct.
to get
Yes, you
passed
pass it on.
And
Yes.
Elaine, can you tell us a little bit who we can pass a complaint on to
Sure.
if we can't handle it at our level?
Definitely, and that's a beautiful thing. We partner with different agencies in the state of Florida that help us to protect the residents living in those facilities. We can, if we run into a situation where we observe abuse, neglect, or exploitation, we can report anything to the abuse hotline. We also have an agency agreement with them that if something rises beyond our level, say if Shirley went out and investigated a complaint and it was about neglect or something, and they were not able to come up with a resolution, we can refer it over to them, and there are certain agreements that they will follow through on their end. The other agency is the Agency for Healthcare Administration, who licenses all of these facilities in Florida. We also have a partnered agreement with them that if something is a regulatory issue that is not maybe a resident concern, or maybe it's a resident concern and we're not getting a resolution, we can refer that to the Agency for Healthcare Administration, who can then resolve it. We also have an internal process. Say one of our ombudsmen goes out and investigates a complaint, and it's a very serious issue or a systemic issue that we're starting to notice patterns. We have a state council who we can bring forward complaints to help find resolution maybe that are outside of our control.
Okay, thank you. Maybe also, could you tell me what happens, an individual calls you and says, I'm interested in the program. Can you give me some more information, and how does it go from there to actually becoming an ombudsman?
Yeah, when we get a call in about becoming an ombudsman, one of the things we want to identify is what that person's availability is, if that person has any skills or anything that they are interested in bringing into it. We also help to educate the person calling about what the program is about, what would be done as an ombudsman, letting them know that there are different roles that they would play as a person going in as an assessor, as well as somebody who's going in and investigating complaints. We go through a series of that, and then we bring them through a formal interview process where we bring them into the office, talk with them, ask them a series of questions to help identify if they have any conflicts of interest. They also go through an extensive background screening process. It's a level 2 federal background screen to ensure that we're putting safe people into the facilities. And they do then go through, there are 5 online modules that they start out doing on their own time, and then they come into the classroom and do 2 in-class trainings, followed by 3 complaint investigations that are shadowed by a ombudsman mentor, and then 3 assessments that are the same. Okay,
thank you. And Brian, how is our level, the quality of recruits that we're getting?
So far, very good. Since we have been dealing with USF, we're also working with University of Central Florida up in Orlando and a few other universities statewide. And from the people that I've seen and talked to, beautiful people, great hearts. I know everybody that's coming in here has mixed emotions, mixed feelings of what to expect and what to receive. And so far, everybody's been really, really good. In fact, I spoke to Friday night at the Lifestyle Fair. There was 3 people that I spoke to that were ex-ombudsman. They had left, went back home up north, and now they're back, and they're interested in becoming ombudsman again. That to me speaks volume. When somebody has left, come back, and still very interested in being part of something that is in itself huge.
Yeah. Elaine, how many Spanish-speaking facilities do we have right now that we're trying to I know right now we lost our only Spanish-speaking ombudsman.
Yeah, we actually have 2 new Spanish-speaking ombudsmen,
great.
so which is a really great thing. The approximate number, I'm not positive. I think it's roughly around 40 facilities that are Spanish-speaking, where a majority of the residents there and the majority of the staff speak only Spanish. But we're growing in those numbers. We always need more. I think these are a lot of small facilities that are in Tampa, basically, but they're spread out, so it's difficult to get them assessed, and especially now that we've started doing the quarterly visitations, we obviously need more than 2 volunteers who speak Spanish to go to those. Yeah,
because I accidentally ended up in one to do a complaint. Didn't realize it wasn't on our list of Spanish speaking, and I had to get the owner, or the lady that was there had to get the owner on the phone to kind of translate for us.
Definitely.
Because she had no idea what I wanted or why I was there. So when I got back, I told the office, mark it as Spanish.
Yes.
Because that problem will happen. Okay, we talked a little bit about they just call our office, but after you've done the inspection, what do we do then? How do we wrap it up for the resident or for the person that made the complaint?
Well, I can speak a little bit on that. With the complaint investigations, one of the things that we do after we finish investigating the complaint, we'll want to determine the level of satisfaction. All of our information, all of our complaints, our assessments are from the resident's perspective. So we'll want to ask the resident if they're satisfied with the outcome. And if they're not, we try to work in a way that can help to satisfy that resident and make them feel comfortable in their environment. And once we're done, we do have documentation that we keep. All of our documentation needs to hold up in court if it's ever subpoenaed or any other reason. So we have really great ombudsmen who document their visits, every phone call they made, every visit that they made. Their assessments are completed on our assessment form, and it's a public record that consumers and individuals who are looking to go into facilities can request, and we can send them that information so that they can be aware of what the facilities are like.
What happens if you get a complaint, maybe for Shirley, since you're more out in the field than Elaine is. You get a complaint, you go to the facility, you find the resident, and they say, get out of here, leave me alone. I'm quite happy. I don't see a problem.
Well, it depends on
some of them say it not quite so politely.
Yes.
I guess it depends on what the complaint was. If the complaint was for that individual, then I'm not sure that there's anything you can do. If the complaint was more of a general, if there was a cleanliness issue or medication dispensing or things like that, then you can actually make that an all residents type of complaint. You translate it into an all residents complaint, and you start investigating it as if every resident had that problem to try and find if there's any problems of that nature, whether this resident wants to pursue it or not.
Right.
And you do go in, when you do visit facilities, you go into what I call sensory overload. I mean, smell, sight, hear, taste, everything. I mean, everything, just all your senses are just at full throttle. And you pick up things that people work there don't because they are complacent.
Yeah, they're used to
they
smell the same thing every day when they get to work, and they don't realize they shouldn't be smelling that.
Exactly. So it's our business or our job as ombudsman. We come in there, point out the obvious, because, like I said, they become complacent and they don't realize what is wrong. until you point it out to them.
And I think facilities really appreciate that about the Ombudsman program.
They really do.
That we can come in and we're a fresh set of eyes for them. We can help to show them maybe there are some issues that residents are fearful about expressing to the administration. Maybe maybe that's a valid concern or not a valid concern. But regardless, we can bring it and explain why that would be something that residents would have a concern about and help to come up with some resolutions, some things that the residents would like to see changed.
Yeah. Do you ever handle complaints from the facility?
It depends. We can handle concerns about, a lot of those are done as a consultation, and that's done by the office, or if an ombudsman has worked at a facility for a long time, we may call upon that ombudsman to help mediate a concern. But we don't ever file complaints against residents. So if there is a concern about a resident, we wouldn't get involved with that. We are the residents' advocates. So, but we do step in and we assist facilities in helping resolve problems that they're having all the time. Yeah, we get lots of concerns about, I mean, you're dealing with people, so people have, concerns and complaints and.
Okay, we're just about out of time. So, Brian, could you kind of give me a pitch here on recruiting?
Yes, recruiting is huge right now. Like I said earlier, I've been in quite a few counties in the last couple weeks, and recruiting right now is, to me, it's what I live and breathe. I know I'm supposed to start and finish my day at a certain time, but my recruiting doesn't end until I close my eyes at night. I speak it, breathe it. I believe in everything that we do. I believe in the program. It's been an absolute joy doing this, and so anybody interested in becoming a volunteer, get on down here. Let's put you to work. We need you.
Get you, Elaine?
Definitely. I just to echo that, I think Brian kind of really hit on the heart of why we need more volunteers. I think it would be wonderful to see this council grow and really serve the residents in a better capacity. I think we're doing an excellent job with the amount of volunteers that we have for this area. And I mean, if anyone looked at the number, they would be completely astounded. But we do need volunteers, and we know that there are people out there in the community who are looking for ways that they can serve this community and ways that they can help their fellow man. And this is a great way, and we're really, we would love if you called us or send us an email.
And I would like to add one thing real quick. The amount of time that we are looking for from our volunteers is 20 hours a month.
Yes.
And we do reimburse for gas. Very important.
Okay. Shirley, real quick.
I just have to say that it's a very, very rewarding program, and I've enjoyed every minute of my involvement in it, and all the people are wonderful, and it's satisfying to be able to resolve an issue for someone who needs help. And that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I really love it.
I just wanted to end the program today with just a couple of notes from our last meeting for the state. We have 356 volunteers for the state of Florida, 4,305 facility assessments and visitations statewide, which saved the state of Florida $1,861,737 in the fact that we're all volunteers for the state. And I think that's speaks admirable for what the program is doing and the number of individuals that we've been able to help here.
Definitely.
Yes.
And let's see, I think that's it. Thank you very much for your time to come here, and I hope we get volunteers, and if anybody speaks Spanish, we definitely need your skills, and if you're like me and don't, but you have other time and transportation, we can certainly use your skills also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.